Okay, no more messing around, y'all. Stop changing your name for men if you live in the United States. You are about to lose your right to vote, okay? Now, before I go into this, like what's really at stake right now, I know it's like, well, okay, if I don't change my name for a husband, then I still have a man's name. It's my dad's. Yeah, I know. I've made videos about this before of all the reasons why I really don't think you should change your name. I mean, I get it. It's easier sometimes and for the children or whatever, but it ruins your career. There's all these other things. But at the end of the day, I get why women do it. So, but now I need us to stop. Okay? Because now you will actually not be able to vote anymore for a lot of women changing their name. So it's not even about like what makes sense or what's easier. This is too important. And while we're at it, stop letting sperm donors name these kids. You birthed them, almost died. Why did they get the name? But I also want to point out, this is not just for women, okay? But I'm telling you, if you don't see what they're doing to everyone, whatever who they target first, especially trans people and immigrants, whatever they do to them, they're going to do to you one day. That's why you have to care, okay? Because anything that we let them do to the most vulnerable, they will, and people with disabilities, and especially pay attention to what they do to Black people, Black and Indigenous people in the U.S. Anything they do to them, they will do to you one day. They just haven't yet. I don't know how many more signs that you need that this is dangerous. Whoever is the most vulnerable, whatever they do to them, they're seeing what they can get away with, okay? And they've been doing this stuff for a long time. But I need women, white women especially, okay? I need you to take this seriously. I need you to care. The reason why I say that is that a lot of times white women don't pay attention to what's happening. We don't understand how serious it is, and we don't even care until it affects us. So let this be the thing that makes you take it seriously. I don't know what else. Because a lot of times we're just like, la 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 la, everything's fine. No, it's not. It's not fine. Look at this. And before I even get into this, I just remember, Black women haven't had the right to vote since the 1920s, in the South, right? No, they have been going after people's right to vote for a really long time, or withholding the right to vote. And now they're going after a lot of people, including any women who are married. So luckily I get this email from Democrats abroad to keep me updated. The House is, as of April 9th, the House is going to vote on the SAVED Act as early as tomorrow. That is Thursday. I don't know when, but this just got this. It's another one of these dumb executive orders because, who thinks he's a king now. So what is it going to do? It's going to require voters registering or changing their registration information to provide ID that hundreds of millions of Americans do not have. Enforcing that ID. My vote is actually, I did not change my name, by the way, but because I vote from abroad, I may not be able to vote anymore. They've already purged me from voting and I had to re-register again. And if this passes, I will not be able to vote again until I go back to the US. If they purge my thing again, which they did right before this election, by the way. Luckily, I was able to vote. But me, anyone abroad, including military, may not be able to vote if this passes. This severely restricts the voting, access to voting, especially for those abroad, in the military and rural communities, married women, students, disabled, and seniors. That's a lot of freaking people, y'all. That is a lot of people. Not only that, it criminalizes, it imposes criminal penalties on election workers if they register voters who fail to provide this documentation of proof that they're a U.S. citizen. And it'll also cost a ton of money to do this. So it's going to make election workers terrified to let people vote, even if they have ever, this makes me so mad. And it has nothing to do with preventing non-citizens aren't voting. This is always just BS, okay? This is always BS. So how does this work? So basically, in order for you to vote, you have to show a proof of United States citizenship, means a passport and one of those real ID things, or a combination of other ID. And the problem is that it also is going to make them periodically review or purge voter roll, which again, that already happened to me. So, but luckily I checked in advance. Didn't make a difference anyway, but I still, I did all this stuff to make sure I could vote because they had purged mine, had to prove all this stuff all over again. But now they're going to make us go. They're going to make us fly back to the U.S. Who can afford that? So if an abroad voter was accidentally purged, they will still need to appear in person with their required documentation. The in-person thing is the problem. That is why military, I don't know the percentage of military people who are abroad, but it's probably a large percent. So military people abroad and military, expats, immigrants, even if you happen to be traveling while there's an election, this also means anyone disabled. How easy do you think that is to go down there in person and do all this? The working poor or just working class, this is time consuming. So even if you're already registered to vote, what does this mean? It means if the state purges your voter stuff, which they will, they just do it sometime. You will need to register again, present all this stuff, proof of citizenship in person. Also, if you need to change your name or your address for your registration, you would need to register again and present that stuff in person. It's the in-person part. Who will this affect the most? Military and civilians abroad, voters without passports. And that's key because most Americans don't have passports. That stuff is expensive. It's expensive. It is like a luxury to have a passport. Who without a passport or who have lost their birth certificate. Do you know how hard it was for me to get my birth certificate? My dad misspelled my name on my birth certificate. So to get married here, my mom spent months tracking down documentation to get them to put an E on the end of my middle name so that I could get married here, which meant getting like a bunch of new birth certificates, having it apostilled and having it sent. I mean, it was a lot of time, it was a lot of money, it was a lot of labor for my mom just because of one little E, because my dad's been spelling my name wrong my whole life. And again, that is with somebody who is willing, my mom, to do all that for me and all that stuff. But now that she wouldn't even be able to do it, you know what I mean? Any changes at all, you got to go in person. To even get a birth certificate, it's a pain in the butt. You got to go. I went down there myself to get a new birth certificate for another reason before I had to change my name because they wouldn't accept it with a misspelled name here. And you have to sit in a line. It is a pain in the butt. Also, it'll affect college students, seniors, military in the United States, and rural vote. I hate that word. Workers who are not eligible to take time off from work to register, because this stuff is usually open very limited hours. A lot of times people cannot take time off from that to go and do this stuff. And then this one, people have changed their name and have no passport. So most women who get married, because if you're not from the U.S. and you don't know, there's still an enormous amount of pressure for women to change their name in the U.S. And they don't do like they do here, where you keep your middle, like your maiden name forever, and then just have a second last name. No. You have to go change it. I can't even find my friend. Okay, my friends from high school, they all have new last names. Do you know how hard it is to track down women that you know once they change their name? It's ridiculous. So this is an enormous waste of time, money, taxpayer money to do all this stuff. It criminalizes and puts, like these innocent election workers, makes them scared, and then disenfranchises so many people. I mean, next, if this doesn't work, they're going to probably do a poll tax. Everything that they did in the South to prevent Black people from voting. Now, remember, Black men had the right to vote a long time ago. Still couldn't vote. Black women couldn't vote. This has been a tactic for a really long time. Like I said before, this is nothing new, but now it's just going to affect more people. So any white woman out there, if you are married, please call your representative because you may not be able to vote ever again. I can see this causing a problem that just the domino effect. And then all these, whatever, they may be in power for a really long time, but they're really going to be in power for a long time if this goes through. This thing in Glamour talked a little bit more about it. This is back in February. This is also just an attack on, mail-in voting. This is nothing other than voter suppression, which again, it's nothing new. But now they're just like going to bring more people into the fold. It would destroy the most popular methods of registering to vote, whether that's online, by mail, through a registration drive, or when you update your driver's license, by requiring people to show their documents in person. So, registering to vote is going to be so hard. Most people don't register to vote by going in there in person. Most people are doing it through these ways. Look at this. It would impact millions of voters, including the estimated 21.3 million Americans who do not already have access to a birth certificate or passport, as well as anyone who relies on voting by mail. And it would especially disproportionately impact voters of color and young voters. And also, if you've moved a lot, good luck. If you've moved, good luck. Good luck. So how does this play out for women? For anyone whose legal name does not match the name on their birth certificate or passport, such as the 79, oh my God, I didn't realize that many women are changing their names. Oh my God. 79% of heterosexual married women. Look, if you changed your name, I'm not judging that, okay? Some of my most feminist friends changed their name for reasons that made sense to them. Some of them don't want their dad's name anymore. Some of them hated their name. Some of them for like that. There's a lot of reasons, okay? I have said that if you are in a profession like mine, my name is my career. If I change my name right now, all that work would be gone. My name is everything. Researchers, there's so many, like any kind of performer, so many women, their careers are ruined by changing their name. And yet still 79% of married women are changing their name, heterosexual women. Please let this be the thing that makes you question that. In fact, I think it's a great question to ask your partner before you get married. Hey, would you be willing to change your name to mine? If they violently oppose that, you got a problem. You got an entitlement problem. The fact that if men who never even consider changing their name and they just assume you'll change yours and they have never even thought about it and are insulted if you even suggest that, pay attention to that. It costs a woman $130 to update her passport, assuming she has one, which only a half of Americans have a passport. And just so you know some of their thinking behind this, should surprise nobody. What is it, Mose? Oh, he wants to say hi. Hi, sweet baby. The anti-abortion activist Abby Johnson said she supported household voting, in which the head of household, who? The woman who's paying all the bills with the hobo? I bet that this doesn't include her. But we know who she's talking about. Cast one vote for the entire family. This was a common argument against women's suffrage before the 19th Amendment was passed. And by the way, I did my whole thesis. I have a history degree, and my whole thesis, it was around women's suffrage for my my whole senior year. Not like a master's thesis, but my whole senior year, I worked on this one paper about women's suffrage. And at first it was like women's suffrage, history of that. And it immediately turned to white supremacy within the women's suffrage movement. Okay. So that is when I had been learning for a while, but I was like, wow, everything, it just really comes down to a lot of white women just standing in the way of every woman's liberation and everybody's liberation. It is a lot of times white women who are in the way. We just get in the way because we want our access to power and the white man especially. And let me tell you something. That is not someone you want to be linked to. That man does not care about you. I promise you, the most dangerous person in your life is usually the man in the bed next to you. So this is nothing new. They have been the United States, men have been withholding. For a long time, only rich people could vote, right? They have been withholding the right to vote it is a part of our history. There's always some group of people, multiple groups of people, but there's always someone that they are trying to do this to disenfranchise and withhold this basic human right, which is to have a say in your own democracy and how things that directly impact you. And they're like, no. So now they're coming for all of us. Should the SAVE Act pass, household voting could become the de facto law for married women who change their last names. And then, of course, trans people are going to be impacted by this because they are always in the front line of all the harm. While out trans people represent a much smaller percent of the country, about 1.6% of adults, according to Pew, than heterosexual married women, they too could face practically insurmountable hurdles to voting if this bill becomes law. And that is not even including all the stuff they're doing with passports right now. I don't know how much you've seen that, but right now what they're doing with the gender on passports, again, this is not new. This is just more of the same stuff. But now they're just, again, They test it out on the most vulnerable, and then they start including all of us. What can you do in the meantime? Please spread the message. Contact your, hold your I know that a lot of these representatives don't care, but also that you're their boss. This stuff does make a difference sometimes. If they're if they're flooded with hey, fork you, Betty, fork you. Make sure your registration is up to date. All this stuff, please keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this. Democracy is very fragile, history will teach you that. But that we're living in that right now. And again, while we're at it, I can look into this one if you want, but I really don't think that children should be getting men's names. I think they need to be following the woman. Why they have not been for a long time makes me so mad. But and not only is it hard to find your friends, it's hard to find literally your family members because of how children are automatically given their dad's name in so many, in the United States and just a lot of places around the world. So keep an eye on this, y'all. Let me know if you heard this. Please follow my Patreon. I've got a live coming up on Sunday. I had a watch party last Sunday. I've got travel content. I've got all this stuff. And this is what pays my bill. This is what keeps the light on. This is what helps me continue to do this work. So thank you, Patreon people, I'm still don't know if y'all want to be mentioned by name or not, because I want to start doing more shout outs. But thank you. Y'all are why I'm here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're not on my Patreon, I have a free tier, by the way. Like, comment, share. All that stuff. Hit notifications. Make sure that you're getting notified when I post. And let me know if you heard the comment song. Only on comment song. View Leon. This is the pretty part of Leon. I mean, not the only pretty part, but the part of pretty part of Leon. Random stuff all over the place. I don't know why it's pink, but Leon, pretty Leon. And this is the big old basilica. Hey, and colorful, pretty Leon comment song. If you're new here, I sing a comment song at the end of each video just because it's something fun I like to do. Leon comment song. I thought she was on a toilet at first. Leon comment song. Look at this. Look at this graffiti. It's so cute, huh? Leon comment song. Leon's known for the chimneys. Leon comment song. Jump Patreon if you like this.